Get the cow back on screen. Good evening, fair souls and wanderers of the internet. It is I, Dr. Tangent, and I am back for another episode of our ventures into the multiverse of beer and music. Tonight we're drinking a beer by donation. This is from viewer Mark, who has gifted us a lovely Scotch ale called the Highlands Scotch Ale. This is from Seven Locks Brewing in Rockland, Maryland. And here's what they have to say about this beer. Inspired by the brewing traditions of the old world, malt, roast, caramel, complex. So we will see. It comes in at 5%, and it is a Scotch ale, which technically could be a couple different things. Scotch ale is kind of a catch-all phrase for a number of different beers that originated in Scotland. Things like the Scottish Heavy, the Scottish Export, the Scottish Light, which is rare these days to find. And then there's the Wee Heavy Ale, which I'm guessing this probably is. The light, heavy, and export beers all have similar flavor profiles, and their really only difference is in body and ABV. Whereas the Wee Heavy, according to the BJCP, is a rich, sweet malt depth with caramel, toffee, and fruit flavors, full-bodied and chewy with warming alcohol, restrained bitterness, but not cloying or syrupy. Wee Heavy is a particular style that I like a lot. It's very full of character, very dynamic, and interesting to drink. But let's crack this open and see what we're working with. Getting some aroma already. Beautiful color, too. Let's get the cow back on screen. So it's not sure if you can see. Maybe if I hold it up here, you can kind of see that it is a beautiful coppery dark amber color with a nice tan head, variegated bubbles, not dissipating terribly quickly, a little bit rocky, and that's nice. Getting a fairly complex aroma. There is a fair amount of sweetness coming through, kind of like a caramelized sugar, like the crust of a creme brulee. Get a little bit of light tree fruit notes, little bit of a slight bit of roasty character, more like toasted bread crust than coffee, if you know what I mean. And way in the back, ever so lightly, a little bit of a floral aroma too. Okay, I don't think it's a Wee Heavy. I think they're going for one of the, um, like a heavy or an export. It's lacking the body and viscosity of a Wee Heavy, but is very good. It's a nice Scottish example. You do get some complexity in the malts, a fair bit of complexity in the malts, from a roasted, almost toasted almond flavor to some caramel to fresh bread and biscuit, getting a fair amount of fermentation character coming through too. I'm getting tree fruits like maybe a little bit of pear on the back end. Very complex, very interesting, almost a slight bit of smokiness in the aftertaste. There is a hop bitterness that comes in at the end. It's understated. This definitely leans to the malts and fermentation character coming through more than the hops, which you would expect in a Scottish ale. But there's a little bitterness at the back end, and with that bitterness comes a little bit of smokiness, which is surprisingly to me rather enjoyable because I typically don't like. There are a whole variety of actually smoked beers that are made with smoked grains, and you can get quite a bit of smoke flavor in that on the palate with those. But this little bit is rather enjoyable. I doubt highly that they used any smoked malts in this. There's always an outside chance that may have gone crazy and used some peat smoked malts, a la Scotch whiskey. But I really think that smokiness is more a combination of hops and roasted grains coming through at the end. All in all, rather fresh and enjoyable. Complex, but not heavy. It's not syrupy or chewy like you would expect in a wee heavy, which is one of the things I like about wee heavies. I'm a little bit nuts, but it's still a very good example of a Scottish ale and rather enjoyable. A little bit about the brewery. They started in 2015 to create an array of well-executed and thoughtful beers to demonstrate our vision of what local craft beer should be. And like I mentioned, they're down in Rockville, Maryland. So if you're ever down that way, feel free to check them out. They're dog-friendly inside and out, which is not something I see a lot in Pennsylvania, to be sure. But it looks like a nice place. Haven't been there personally. But viewer Mark, thank you. And what are we going to pair with this Scotch ale? Well, we're going to look at one of my personal favorite genres of music. We're going back to Celtic punk rock. That's right, Celtic punk rock. Deal with it. It's really good. But we're going with a Scottish tilt to it. There's a band called the Real Mackenzies, who are actually out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, but are very, very in touch with their Scottish roots. They do Celtic-inspired punk rock. They also do traditional Scottish songs and some folk songs, but are part of the Celtic punk revolution. They came about in 92, about 10 years after the Pogues started that all off. But they are plugging away solidly in that vein. And tonight we're going to listen to a song called Scots Wha Hae, which actually was the unofficial national anthem of Scotland for quite a few years, as it was originally written in 1793 by Robert Burns during the Scottish Wars of Independence. You know, Robert the Bruce and William Wallace and all that. So let's check it out. Scots wha hae, it's a great Scotland, Scots wha
sheep of Stricatina. I got a kilt, I got a claymore at my side. Let's come around the back, bottleneck the tinnitina. So get a junior. So lay the pound, you super lord. Tyrants fall with every fall. Liberties with every blow. Left us you on time. What for Scotland's king and law? Freedom swords will still only draw. Free ones fight, free ones fall. But they will be paid. Scots right, Scots right. It's a class called Scots right. Scots right, Scots right. Screaming from the Highlands, Scots right. Scots right, Scots right, Scots right, Scots right. Say Scots right. Hey!
You gotta love it. Rebellious, loud, Scottish. That was fun. Come on. You know who you are out there grumbling and grousing about it. So that was a song called Scots Wahe. And if you felt like you didn't understand a whole lot of the words, that's because half of them were in Scottish. And believe it or not, the vast majority of the words that he sang were from the original 1793 song. Scots Wahe translated means Scots that have, or Scots who have, and the next line is bled with William, referring to William Wallace. It's all about the Scottish War for Independence against England, and a war they didn't really win. But hey, it's rebellious and fun. The very beginning intro bit that he sang was their original writing, and the bridge in the middle where he's singing about I've got a kilt, I've got a claymore at my side, that was their writing. Everything else was pretty much straight from the original song. And it talks about the war. It talks about how battle was coming with King Edward, and how the choice was between fighting and dying, or living as a slave, and how that's not really much of a choice. So you should fight and die, of course. So it's fun. It's rebellious. There's a lot of crossover for the band. Obviously, you saw that the lead singer, Paul Mackenzie, comes from a family of Scottish independence fighters. So he kind of has a little bit of emotional skin in the game, shall we say. Entertaining song, fun. You can feel the party vibe. There's just something undeniable about Celtic music and Celtic punk music for me that just is fun. You know, it screams sing-alongs, get together, drink beers, have fun, enjoy each other, and maybe fight a little. Who knows? You do what you do. But anyway, solid song, solid beer. Thanks again, Mark. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell, because I'm putting out new content every week, at least once a week, with some new features coming. And I'd appreciate it. But more so, I would appreciate a comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know how much you love this song. Let me know how much you hated this song. Let me know if there's beers I should try or music genres I should explore. Let me know what you think, because I'd like to interact. It's just the kind of guy I am. But until we meet again, dear friends, Slanjava.